ready for a brand new type of spiritual life? No, that's not boring. That's some good stuff. Aren't you tired of the same old thing? Everybody telling you the same. Things are going to get better. Things are going to be fine. Things are going to be one. I got something for you. For you. All right. Hello, I'm Dr. Ed Montgomery. I am the spiritual director of Abundant Life Cathedral Abundant Life Center in the city of Katy, Texas. I'm there every Sunday morning, and we're only there about 65, maybe 70 minutes. I say that, but I'm doing pretty good on that. But this is not somebody preaching at you or hollering at you or a bunch of announcements and a bunch of things. This is about you letting some things go for that moment. That's going to get you ready so that you can deal with that week coming up. Also, this is spiritual. It's spiritual, but I call it vintage wisdom. Vintage wisdom is about being a little bit, I don't want to say older. Vintage, in other words, it's some dressing vintage. In other words, where did you get that from? Where did you hear that from? That's what this is about. Because it's a different twist on things. It's actually untwisting your normal kind of Christianity. No, it's not way off in the woods, but it's untwisting some things that have twisted us up. So get on there. Push. You got to push the button now. Push the button on your, hit that thumbs up if it's the like, hit the like button. If share this with someone, hit your share button so it'll go out to other people. If you're just one person, you got other people that you can connect with and say, this is good. Trust me, it's good. And your comments, if you're living in the city of Houston, there's not much you need to do unless you just want to say hey, because I love saying hey to you. But if you're in another city other than Houston, let me know. If you're in another state other than Texas, let me know. And especially if you're in another country right now, watching from another country. You may live here, but you're in another country doing some great work somewhere. Let me know. Hit this. Don't hit the subscribe button. I don't know what's going on. We just reached over our subscription and YouTube told us, hey, you guys are doing good. I mean, it's not like we just need their approval. But it's always nice to have somebody tell you, hey, you're doing good. We're in 2024, and 2024, if you look at those numbers, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, that's 4, 4 is 8. 8 is that number of what we call new beginnings. I call it a door. If you see me, I'm doing like this, that's that figure 8 instead of like this. I kind of see the 8 flat like a racetrack because that's how I grew up. My grandfather had me with little race cars and train tracks, and some of you know about that. How many of you had train tracks or race cars? Tell me. I want to know when you were little. No, I know you want to seem like, I never got into all that thing, but some of you did. So tell me, let me know. I'll see the comments later. And so I see a figure 8 like that, and I always see a flow. But I've been watching a lot of things going on in our world right now concerning spiritual things. And of course, spiritual things sounds really boring, but I get excited about them because I don't see spiritual things as just going to church and, in my private time, I know how to hold my hands and when I'm quiet and I'm receiving things. I do that in the morning in my morning meditations. See, morning meditations. A lot of times you go to church don't tell you about meditations. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart. So we do things, we do meditate. There are, I know, at least 3 to 4 things that we're learning to do that's different. And meditation, of course, takes that moment in time where you cut off everything. Meditation is not talking to God. Meditation is letting God talk to you. Or it could be mindful meditation, which is learning. I think of like a pair of scissors on each side of your ears. In other words, every time crazy stuff try to come in your head, snip it. Keep snipping that stuff until you snip it and learn how to keep it out for 10 seconds. Then keep it out for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. And you learn how to sit for a moment and just get perfectly still. And you be still and know that I am God. Be still. Imagine if you could be still for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and no thoughts going in or out, and just finding yourself in this quiet space, realizing who you are, what you are, and just waiting on that. I say the thing that we call God because you know what God is, right? You know, God is a symbol. The word God is a symbol. That's not God's name. Some in the Old Testament of the Bible call God Jehovah or Elohim. There's so many names that we get. But God is not the name. God is the symbol for how you see God. That's right. Do you see God as health? Do you see God as love? Do you see God as health, love? Do you see God as compassion? Do you see God as someone you relate to, a friend? And now you got health, love, friend. So you can't go down the list of how you see God because there'd be too many words. So guess what you do? You add all of those up, press them down, shaking together, running over, and you call that God. So that means whenever I tell you, or I ask you, do you believe in God? And you say, well, do you believe in God? And I say, yes. And you say, yes. Then what we believe about God or believe in God is actually different things. Some of our things may coincide with each other, but we all see God in different ways. Now, they're not going to tell you that all the time in church. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because they're going to preach to you as if you see God exactly the way they see God, which is why many times when I stand up before a crowd of people, I'll say, I want to lay this before you for your consideration. We all have that right to consider, to see how we see things. If you got 100 people sitting up in one space, I promise you all 100 see God slightly different. We try to find what's common. Now that's one thing, how we see God. A second thing about what are you going to do about your spiritual life? How do you view things? Now I'm going to tell you this. Last week I was in the 3rd chapter of Revelation, and I was in the same chapter again this week. I've been in that chapter all week long, and it's blowing my mind. Let me tell you why it's blowing my mind. Because last week I talked about open doors and shutting doors and how to navigate shut doors. Matter of fact, you can go back to the vintage wisdom of last week, and it'll tell you how to navigate shut doors. And then Sunday, Sensational Sunday, the last Sensational Sunday. Oh my goodness, that was off the chain. But I stayed from last vintage wisdom on the 3rd chapter of Revelation, and I stayed right here in that 3rd chapter. And there was another phrase that blew me away too. And it says that he, speaking of Jesus, will stand before his Father or God. Watch this now. And will let his Father know about the name that is already written down, and that name cannot be blotted out. Now, I thought when you got saved, your name was written in heaven. But according to this, it says your name is already written in heaven. The goal is not to get your name written in heaven, but the goal is to keep your name from being blotted out. Ed Montgomery, you're messing with my religion now. So what does it mean to be saved? Is saving, getting you saved, coming in and getting you to keep you out of hell, or is our name written down in the book of life the day we born? Ooh, good question. They're not going to tell you this in church. Church is not where you're going to hear about this. I'll give you another one. What about belief? How many people come to you and say, what do you believe? What is it about? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe this? Do you believe that? And it almost sounds like they're asking you, what do you think about? See, when they say, do you believe in, it's almost like, what do you think about? Do you believe in Jesus? What do you think about Jesus? Or they're asking you, what are you holding on to in your mind? What does it mean? Come to find out, John chapter 6. Read it, and weep, but not weeping in a bad way. Read it, and you will begin to see something about what belief really is. Is belief what we hold in our minds, or is belief following the ways of Jesus? What if somebody, see, these are spiritual things you're going to have to ask yourself this year. What about those that ask you, are you a Christian? Because all this stuff is getting messed around in politics. And I got something to say about that. But before I say it, first of all, let me thank you for your compassion and your love to help me keep talking to people in ways that's causing people to say, let me tell you something. Our numbers of what people are watching are going up, 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 up. And not that that's an indication that, oh my God, you're doing wonderful, wonderful things because you got more clicks. You can do a lot of things to get clicks. But what we're concerned about is, are we literally touching people's hearts? And what do they think about these things? Are people beginning to untwist their Christianity? Because that seems to be sometimes what's choking them. Sometimes your own view of your own Christianity that they're putting out there in politics and everything else is choking you. Listen, when you give, it makes a big difference. It means that we can keep getting this out beyond these plastic and glass and things of that sort. It's a text to give. 713-742-2035. 713-712-2035. Text it. And when you get into that message, all you got to do is text however much you want to give. It might be $8, might be $9, might be $15. It doesn't matter what it is. All you got to do is type that one number right there in that message and text it to that number. And it'll immediately just bam, 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 just like that. If it's your first time, I'm glad it will be your first time, because that means I get a chance to get to know you. Or maybe you want to go directly to our website, which is myalc.org. That's myalc.org, myalc.org. That right there takes you directly to our site. You can click that donate button, takes you to the screen. It's verified, it's safe, it's complete, and literally when When you give like that, you become a part of our great big family. Our great big family is just beyond what we do Sundays. It's what's online. I call it the great big family. So make sure you take that moment and do that. And whatever you do, that tells us that you're out there. Now, what about when people ask you about, are you a Christian? Nowadays, here's what happens. When people ask me that question, I get quiet because I don't know what they think about it. So I have a tendency to ask them, what do you mean by that? So now, what are you going to do about your spiritual life? You say, well, you don't say you're a Christian. I ask those people, what do they mean by that? And I tell them, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings. And I think that there are some of you out there. That definition fits well with you. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings. And there are some of you that are saying, you know what? Right now, I want to become a part. I want to become a follower. I'm making a decision to become a follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings. Now, isn't that a little different than somebody say, do you want to be saved? And you don't even know what that means. What's going on out in Washington? They're claiming to be Christians. They want a Christian nation. But I'm asking myself, do I want all of that, what they're talking about? Or do I want something that comes from within me? A power that emanates from my soul. Something that helps me to help other people discover not my purpose, but my purpose is to discover that I am a blessing and that my blessing manifests into multiple blessings. I'm a part of a seed, of a grain of sand on the shore. So when you look at it, you see a beach. And I'm there laying next to other people who are discovering who they are. This is the year of discovering who you are. Not just becoming a carbon copy Christian or somebody who's just cookie cutter Christian or things of that sort, so that we can become a part of a Christian nation. And so we can vote for, look, I don't want a country like that. I don't want a church like that. I don't want a life like that. I want a life where I want to be happy. Let me break in here for a second. I want to tell you a little secret. There is something I used to do. It was commodity trading. And they used to have something on the list called winter wheat. I never knew what it was, never paid any attention to it because in my northern background, all I saw in the winter was hard ground, snow. How could anything grow? Well, I learned different. I learned that winter wheat was something that was planted around the fall, around September, October. And when it was planted, they didn't just throw the seed out there on the ground. Of course, it would be too hard. But they drilled down into the earth and almost like planted them one by one. Now, when the snow came and the winter came, it would go dormant. But when the spring came, it would come up again. And they would harvest it around that time. Winter wheat. In other words, there are things in our lives that we plant in times when people think they won't grow. There's a number 9 that I believe symbolizes finality. It symbolizes harvest. It symbolizes the end of something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, you start all over again. This is 2024. 2, 2, 4 equals 8, new beginnings. But watch this. You can plant during the new beginnings, but you can't eat the harvest until later. When you plant something, it takes time. Sometimes it's dormant. Sometimes there's a winter. Sometimes you feel like everything is shut down, just like the earth is shut down in the winter. But you know what? Spring is coming. A different kind of growth is about to take place. So what you thought was not going to happen is going to happen. It's a seed that you plant in the earth. The seed and the need. The need is in the seed, and the seed is in the need. So whatever it is that you need, and whatever needs you see around you, plant it. It might be $9.90. It might be, for those of you who have it, and people have it, it might be $90.90, or it might be $99.90, whatever. Put a 9 in that offering. It might just be $9. Whatever it is, take the time. Plant it now. You can call the number. You can text to give. People love it. 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. Or you can go to myalc.org. I love myalc.org. It's safe. It's secure. And you can hit that donate button, smash it, crash it, hit it. Let it be known that you're there. And you will see how to do it. Look, there are a lot of needs around in this world. There's going to be a lot of issues coming up. It's going to look like everything is lying dormant. But remember, if you put your seed in the ground, it's already coming up while you're not thinking about it. In the wintertime, it's not the heat from the sun outside that will grow this seed. Guess what? It's going to be the warmth of the sun inside that will make this seed come to life. It's going to be a warmth, like warm oil inside of you. Give, you'll feel it, and it will make a difference not only in the lives of others, but also in your life. All right? We love you. Stay blessed. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it. Let us know you're there.